What is going on, gamers? Aevatrex here, and today we are going to be talking about farming, resources in Lords Mobile, and the ways to go about it, the right gear set to use, do's and don'ts, etc. So, the first thing that we have to go over is of course the gear, because that is a very crucial part of maximizing your time on resource gathering. So let's go ahead and jump into the gear for each slot and which one you'd want to look into. Now, first and foremost, the main hand is where we're going to start, because there is one here that is an absolute must, and that is the electric lance. There is three things that you want to look out for in gear when you're going to be gathering, and that is one, army capacity, the second one is resource gathering speed, the other one is travel speed, and as you can tell, the electric lance has both. And it also comes with research speed, which is an additional bonus. So main hand, the electric lance is definitely the one that you want to go for. Now moving on to the helm, we have the Rhinoceros mask. It has army capacity, construction speed, which is an added bonus, and again travel speed and resource gathering speed. It has the main three ones and an additional bonus. The Rhinoceros mask is definitely the best one to get as far as the helmet, but there is an alternate. And there is an alternate in the Devil Visage. It has army capacity on it, which is 17%. It is nowhere near as good as the other helm, but for instance, this is one that it's not going to be the easiest to get to gold. So if you're still working on the Rhinoceros mask, you can get the Devil's Visage to gold until then, but overall the Rhinoceros mask is the way to go by far. Now moving on to the armor, Lightning Guard is what you want to go with on this one. It has resource gathering speed of 20%, which is really nice. Now it also comes with added bonus of gold production and construction speed. And there is also another alternative to the Lightning Guard, and that is going to be the Centaur saddle, which has an army capacity of 12.5%. Obviously that's not as good, but again, if you're working on the Lightning Guard, you can use that in between. Now for the legs, the best one that you want to go for there is going to be the Seafarer cleats. It has army capacity of 27.5%, as well as the added bonus of construction speed and cavalry. There is another option here in the Nomad boots, which has army capacity of 24%, but obviously the Seafarer cleats are just a bit better. But it also depends on the materials that you have. If you have the materials to make one over the other, then just go with that one. The difference is not really much, so it's going to be up to you on which one you go on this one. Now the offhand is going to be the Griffin's Talon. This is probably one of the better items and one of the easiest items to get in the whole game to gold, even if you're completely free to play. It has a really nice army capacity of 25%, and as well as gold production and construction speed, and it is completely free to make and only requires 2 ingredients, which look here, I have so many of those, and that's the free to play ingredients also, so you should be able to complete that rather quickly, and it's by far the best one you can get in the offhand slot. Now the accessories. Now there's accessories that are a little trickier because there's no specific accessory for gathering. The best one that you're going to find is the Ivory Choker, mainly because of the travel speed. Outside of that, no other accessory is going to offer you anything else as far as gathering. So if you can get Ivory Chokers and stack that travel speed, your gatherers will get there and come back that much faster. But outside of that, there's really not much else that you can do. So if you can get Ivory Chokers, great. If you can't, not really a big deal. Now that we've gone over the gear, let's go ahead and jump into actually gathering and explaining a few other things. Okay, so here we are. This is my gathering gear that I got at the moment. So as you can tell, much of the gear that we talked over I pretty much have right here. Remember, it does not have to be gold to be good. So long as you have a combination of something like this, you're set to go. Now one of the main things that you also want to do is make sure you have a gather boost if you gather a lot. Now if you don't find yourself gathering much, then you might not even have to worry about a gather boost. There is quite a few different gather boosts. There's a gather boost for a day, which is at 50%. There's another one for 100%, and then there is one for 50% for 7 days. Now you can actually buy these completely free and just use your guild coins. You go to the speed up sections and go all the way down, and you can buy one that will last 24 hours for a 50% boost for only 30,000 coins, or you can get a whole week a whole week's worth for 127,000 coins. Now, is it worth to buy? That's going to depend up to you. If you find yourself gathering a lot, then absolutely, this is going to cut the time pretty much in half. So in the end, it's going to be worth it. If you don't find yourself gathering a lot, then I would not spend coins on this. If anything, I would save up my coins to buy the jewel chest, etc. But like I said, it's going to be up to you on which way you go about it. Now, we went over that. We went over the gear. You have the gear on. Let's go over some things right here. Let's go to this field, level 4 field. There's only 10,000 left, so that's perfectly fine. Let's go ahead and gather. Now, the first thing that we need to go over is the tiers. There is the highest tier first, lowest tier first, and then of course there's the resource and the troop. I feel like a lot of people know about this, but they don't understand exactly what it is. Now, if you don't have this already, I'm going to show you exactly where to get it. Alright, now if you come over to your academy and you go to upgrade military, the first one is going to be gathering priority, and this one is essentially like a free upgrade. You just go ahead and research it. It doesn't really cost any speed ups and all that. It's pretty much a very straightforward upgrade, and it unlocks gathering priority to auto select the number of troops needed based on the resource amount. This is something that we really needed at the beginning of the game. They implemented and has been great ever since. So now that you know where to get it, let's go back to the gathering priority. Okay, so here we are back. Now we're looking at the gathering priority. Highest tier first, lowest tier first. What exactly does that mean? So let's go ahead and put it on the very first one, highest tier first as far as resource. Okay, now when you go to highest tier and you go ahead and auto select, essentially what that is going to do is it's going to auto select the highest tier troop that you have to cover the resource that you're going to be farming. So essentially, for instance, with my T4, it's going to automatically select my heroic fighter, which is only going to take 152 to go ahead and gather those 10k resources that I need. Now when you go the other way with the lowest tier first, then essentially what it's going to do is just the opposite. It's going to pick the lowest tier, which in my case will be tier 1 troops, and it's going to send the lowest amount needed to gather the full node. So in this case, 433 grunts is going to be able to gather the 10,000 resources that I need. Very simple. Now the next one is a little trickier, and one that I don't really suggest you ever be on, no matter what, really. So the highest tier first in the troop selection, essentially what that is going to do is it's going to send the maximum amount of troops you can send to that resource. Doesn't really care how many resources are left, etc. So in this case, it's going to send 204,500 heroic fighters. And of course, you do not ever want to farm resources which tier 4, much less this amount, unless you're tile hitting, etc. So you don't want to do that. Now conversely, if you go to the lowest tier first, that's still not very good, because it's going to send everything you have at them. Again, it's going to send 204,000 troops at that node, no matter how much resources left. And take a look at all the troops that it's going to be sending. So my honest opinion is don't ever go in the lower third and fourth one, because it's just not going to be good for you unless you're tile hitting something. But if you're going to be tile hitting somebody, you don't want to automatically select your troops. So stick to the second one. That's what I would suggest, the lowest tier first in the resource one, because essentially what that's going to do is going to auto select your lowest tier troop, which in this case will be tier 1s, then tier 2s, then tier 3s, etc. And if you there's a few pluses for tier 1s and gathering with them. Tier 1s move extremely fast, so you'll get there much quicker than with tier 3s or even tier 4s. And if you get tile hit with tier 1s, not only do you not lose much at all, they'll just go into the infirmary, but they are super cheap to heal and they take no time at all. Like literally it takes no time. So if you're gonna be gathering and you have enough tier 1s to gather with the tier 1s, make sure that you gather with the tier 1s. Now let's actually go ahead and clear this tile up, because there's one thing that I see a lot of players do that you really should not do. So let's go ahead and auto select. It selects my 433 grunts, and on the right side there you see that those 433 grunts are going to be able to get 10,854 resources, which is actually just a bit more than the tile has, which is perfectly fine. But here is a problem that a lot of people are having, and people don't realize it. So you select your troops, you know that they're going to be able to gather enough resources to finish the whole tile, so you just go ahead and launch them, right? You launch them, and then it's all good, right? A lot of people will just go to their equipment, they'll change, they'll go, I'll put in my monster hunting gear, right? And they're off. There's just one problem. And since I have the power of editing, let's go ahead and jump into that problem. Okay, so here we are into the problem. We've gotten to the field, right? And we're gathering the resources, but take a look at this. It's only gathering 8,900. Now remember, when we sent it out, it was obviously going to gather the whole tile. So what exactly changed when you sent it and now they're there and they're going to be gathering much less? And this is what happens. They're going to come back and they left resources out on the field. Well, essentially what happens is if you send to a tile and you change your gathering gear out before they actually get to the tile, that bonus is not going to be applied when it gets to the tile. So essentially I sent out my troops. They were set to gather the 10,000 resources that were left, but because I changed my gear to my monster hunting gear, when it actually hit the tile, it no longer had those bonuses, so it did not apply. So for your gear, you have to have your gear on when you get to the tile. If not, you will leave these kind of things around and people will get pissed at you. So when you see tiles like this, when there's just nothing left, essentially what ended up happening is they switched their gear out, they did not know about the bonuses that are applied once you get to the tile, and they just thought that, oh, I'll send it out and it's fine because it said that it was okay when I sent it out. No, it has to be on when you land on the tile. So now that you know the best gears to use for this, you know what to do and what not to do, and how to farm, whether to use tier 1s, tier 2s, tier 3s, etc. Hopefully this guide was helpful to you and your gathering, and thank you guys for watching. If you want more, let me know in the comment section what else you guys want me to cover. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and until later, bye!